Very good afternoon to one and all. I welcome you all for our online international conference on pre and post of COVID 19 higher education and opportunities. So, the topic which we are going to discuss is post COVID 19 digital teaching methods. This is Balamurli, MBA DHRM UGC NET, Assistant Professor BBA, DG Vaishnav College, Chennai. First of all, I would like to thank Para Association and Dr. L. Vijay Kumar for this opportunity to act as a resource person. Okay, impact of COVID 2019 in India. Okay, the disease was spreaded in the last year. Initially, it was in China, and after 2020, it started spreading its wings all over the world. So you know about this mid-March crisis, right? Mid-March crisis, somewhere around in the March 15, we people heard the term called Corona, correct? COVID. So from March 21, 2020, all educational institutions went for a temporary closure. Initially, they stated that after 14 days, all the education will be opened again. But till today, we don't have any clue that when will we go back to the colleges. Correct? Okay. Education of 285 million learners were endangered. Now, the policy makers in the arena of education are pushed to think about modern teaching techniques. Majority of institutions embraced online teaching. Earlier, institutions believed only on chalk and talk and smart classes in some cases, but nowadays it becomes mandatory to every faculty to go for online teaching. Digital education and its challenges. It was introduced to India 15 years ago, but still it is not 100% implemented everywhere because of the following reasons: the infrastructure provided by the colleges, level of teacher and learner with the level to text with reference to the tech solve. So the teacher must be technically enabled and learner must be technically enabled to go for 100% online course. Less availability of trained faculty to teach online. So nowadays you can see some FDPs like how to host an online program, something like that. So earlier it was not there. Unstable internet connection across India. See, if you take the case of villages, the internet connection is not as fast as you enjoy the thing in city. So it would be very dull. Sometimes the connection will be unstable. Sometimes it will not get connected. Okay, so across India, we cannot ensure that online educations will happen. But government has to take steps to enable a stable internet connection across India. And difficult to assess learners. This is what the point teachers used to say when somebody pushes them to take online classes. No, it is nowadays it is pretty easy. I will tell you how to do that. But anyway, some support from your institution is needed to do 100% full-fledged course, because as a teacher you cannot spend much on technology part. And no support from regulatory bodies. Yes, only by a couple of days back UGC said that 20-25% you can give it in online, remaining can be a regular classroom methods. Less interaction among students and between teacher to student. Okay, this is also a myth which needs to be broken in online education. Okay, alpha to omega of effective teaching online. So what you need to do if you want to teach online? So around let us say 20-25% of people across the academic fraternity, they started online, but without knowing it, somebody uh, doesn't know how to do it. So this session is about how to leverage online teaching for your students for the mutual benefit of you, organization, and the students. But I want to tell you one thing clearly: it won't cost you anything apart from the internet connection and the computer which you are having right now. Okay. Before the class, prepare a lesson plan. Identify the learning objective, plan the specific learning activities, assessments, and sequence of lesson, creating, creating a realistic timeline, plan for a lesson closure. So you have to know when you are starting the lesson, how much time you will be discussing the subject parts, what is your opening topic, what is in the middle, what is your closing topic, and when will you raise your question and answer session, when you can talk something generally in the classroom, everything you should know. But no need to get afraid about sitting in front of camera and taking an online class. It is as same as taking a regular class which you do is in normal lecture mode, but in this method it is much more effective than your regular chalk and talk method. So let us see that. You need to share the lesson plan in advance with your students, ask them to prepare and come to classes, so you can get more engagement and students will be on the track. After the classes, reflect on what worked well and why, and what you could have done differently. Okay, after the classes, as a teacher, you review yourself. Okay, so lesson plan, creating a lesson plan is predominantly thing in online classes. Just like that, you cannot come and sit in front of computer and you take whatever you are comfortable in the particular day. That should not be done. Whether it is online or offline, having a lesson plan in advance could be a perfect one, so the student will know what you are going to teach and they will be interested. Cripsy material. This is point number one. So online helps you to source material from different websites, and accordingly you can change to the level of your students and you can present it. So here the burden of student goes to referring many books comes down. Since it is a soft copy, you no need to worry about the pages, right? So you can give as much as pages you can to elaborate the subject matter to make the student to understand it. Examples and applications. So online education makes you to teach with examples and application. Look at the picture. You are able to show the picture online very easily. If it is offline, you need a smart class projector, something like that. But online, that it is already embedded with the visual learning. That's why I said it is much more effective than your regular classroom teaching. So teaching about gravitational force, you can directly teach it from the picture. You can tell a story based on this also, correct? So wherever possible, examples and applications will be given, and it is a type of virtual learning they get. Correct? Planned delivery of lecture. Just because you cover it, that doesn't mean they learned it. Okay, that's what I said. As per the lesson plan which you have seen in the first slide, you should deliver your lecture. As much as possible, don't give space for deviations as much as possible. But still, when there is a plan, there is a deviation that we can accept, but there is a control mechanism always, correct? So do that. So deliver the lecture in such a way that student will be engaged in the lecture. Raise questions, conduct quiz program online, gamification in academics, case studies. So all those things will help the student to get engaged with the teacher, because here you are not teaching I mean in the classroom, so probably you may or may not see all your students in a single shot. For example, 60 students, though you are using any online applications, at a time looking at 60 students face is not at all possible, right? Always give assignment from the classroom teaching, so that you know how much they listen to your class, whether they listen to your live classes or they listen to your video classes. Both are okay. It doesn't mean that the student has to present always. Give them some flexibility. That is what online is all about. Ensure two-way communication. After every class, have a structured questionnaire to collect feedback. After every class, you raise a question, let them answer, let them raise the question, you answer. The question and answer session, that should be must. Get a feedback after every session, and you should keep name as anonymous, so that you will get genuine feedback. If you are asking their name and getting feedback, again you will not be getting the exact feedback which they wanted to give you, correct? And after completing of every session, every unit, every subject matter, you should give them a feedback that how much you enjoyed the session being with the students online, and let students tell their experience. So these are the initial things which make students to get acclimatized with the online environment. Assessment. Okay, assessment is pretty easy nowadays. So but preparation of question part is vested with you. Maybe the analysis part computers can do, but preparation part is vested with the teacher. So assessment part, preparing questionnaire in Google form or using some survey websites, teacher needs some training, and assessment part teacher needs some training. So once the examination is over, it automatically evaluates. In case of objective type assessment, it automatically evaluates and it gives the marks. In case of descriptive paper, there is no other way. System may or may not evaluate, but it is better to have a human to evaluate a descriptive paper. Clear? So online valuation is, there are few companies in India now started this online valuation job. So faculties are can get even part-time job with those companies where you can assess the papers of many universities from foreign, where they are hiring faculties from India to evaluate papers. Okay, active learning happens in online education or digital education. Okay, what is active learning? The student actively participating in the learning process. For example, they listen to the lecture, their body language, something like nodding the head, eye contact, looking at the screen, right? Questioning relevant to the subject matter. All those things will tell you whether the student learns actively or not. Okay, what is passive learning? Imagine the lecture session. How many of them will raise the question? If it is a classroom, hardly, if the classroom strength is 70, hardly 4 or 5 will stand up and raise the question, correct? But in case of online classrooms, you are giving your email ID or WhatsApp number to raise the doubt. So instead of asking the doubt in the forum, they're free to express themselves in an online platform. They can send you the mail separately, correct? There's a communication between only the teacher and the particular student to find the doubt. So now doubt clearing becomes part of your job and becomes part of the student responsibility also, right? There is no hesitations in asking the question because there is nobody in front of them. If it is a classroom, if it is a silly doubt, out of 70 students, one is asking a doubt, remaining 69 will mark at the one student. So here a type of humiliation happens. So that is avoided in online coaching. So you can get 100% active learning. And online education is learner centric. Here learner decides what subject matter is going to study. For example, first hour you may be taking accounting, I may be taking economics. If a student is interested in economics, he can sit in economics class. So the accounting class may be a secondary priority. He may look at the video and learn it. Clear, student decides which class he has to sit and which faculty class he likes, something like that. And online rating of the faculty evaluation by the student happens simultaneously. And subject matter are highly job centric, and which stimulate the student interest to participate and learn. So personalization, relevance, challenge, engagement, collaboration, control, everything happens here. It is economical, comparatively cheaper than the regular education, but don't worry, regular education will alive and online education will also alive, because both are giving same knowledge, but both are different in giving the same knowledge. So some students who likes online classroom coaching definitely come for a classroom coaching. People who are comfortable with learn from home, they will learn from home, correct? Okay, multi-sensory learning, this is what I told you. This don't usually happens in your lecture session. Visual, majority of the student will be looking at their mobile. Now what we are doing, we are getting into their mobile and we are teaching through their mobile. So when you teach people will look at you or not, that is a question mark. But when you teach through mobile, people definitely look at you. Kinesthetic, that is doing by learning. So you can give online exercises in the like games, something like that, so student can learn. Learning by games is called gamification. So already people who are from commerce and management background, we are already having something called a case study and management games. Auditory, so student sees, listens, and does. So three activity happens. So multisensory learning happens. Flexibility, learning to be a flexible one. For example, today I may not be feeling well, so I will not report to the college. What happens? The particular 5 day, 5 hours or 6 hours subject matter is a loss for me today, correct? But this won't happen in case of online education because every class is recorded and given back to the students. So the student is not coming to the classroom, a student is not attending online, still he is having the opportunity to stream the video and learn, right? And faculty can also assess the attendance. Either he has attended offline, either he has accessed the video or he has accessed the online class, right? So flexibility, 24 bar 7 learning, anytime, anywhere learning. So graphics and motion pictures. You can easily show graphics and motion pictures in online teaching. So teaching about lungs, this is the best example. High retention. People have high level of retention when they learn from online. Why? Because our mind likes colors, images, motion pictures rather than a text. So this is highly possible in online or digital education. So people who learn from online education or digital education will remember things for a long time. The concept of digitalization, audio, text, voice, and the video interaction, everything happens. So all those things, only audio and text, that is written text in case of your classroom teaching. You can host quiz program like this. So there are around 10 questions are given, right? Student can attempt this multiple choice question. He can give save next and move to the next slide, right? So at the end of the session, it automatically generates the result, and you see the timer is also will be running in some cases. Okay, here I will tell you how do you assess the students when they are taking examination. So there is a possibility when they are taking examination in online, there is a possibility they search answers in net. So as much as possible as a teacher, when you are giving them test, you should not copy paste test from, copy paste any question or copy paste any concept from the internet, because they will just copy paste the question to Google. So Google answers them, they will give the right answer. Rather than that, the question, whatever the question you see online, you change it to your own language, reframe the sentence, rephrasing it, then put it as a question. So the student cannot go and check in online. This is number one blockade for them. Number two, till the test is over, their laptop or mobile camera should not be closed. That should be kept open so that the student test is recorded, the video and the test both are recorded simultaneously. So if there is any doubt in the particular student answer, we can stream the video and see whether the particular student has made any irrelevant activities like copying, something like that. Okay, so it is not that we cannot assess students, we can assess students. Many corporate companies can do this job. So they can watch the cameras where the student is sitting or not, or somebody else is sitting instead of student. Everything we can know through online. It is much more effective than our regular teaching mode. Okay, simulation, you want to play a game and teach, that is called simulation. Dummy game, dummy business environment is created. It's a type of simulation. For example, in schooling days, you go to lab. and your teacher shows you a simulated brain from the lab. It is not an actual brain, it is look-alike brain, correct? That is called simulation. So here you see people are teaching about some analysis of financial report. So here sales is given, revenue is given. So items like this you can show as a game and teach them. You should not tell them it is a subject matter you should learn. Rather, it's a game, let's practice. So that the student will get interested towards online education. Applications, all these applications you use if you want. You can use Facebook to teach, YouTube to teach. Okay, Google Meet. All these things are free, believe me. And you can put your notes in Google Classroom so that you can give a link student can download, right? Or you can create a Facebook page and you can keep all the notes there. So Facebook page will gives you option that you can see how many students have seen the notes. So it will show the name of the students also, so that you can have a follow-up. Interactivity. So only in online classes the student interaction happens. Offline classes the possibility is less. The student interaction with the technology we are talking about. So he goes and sees Google Classroom, he attends the class. YouTube is looking again for if there is any doubt. He goes to Google Classroom, download the notes, okay, and he is sending you the mail if there is any doubt. Clear, he is taking the test from other website like Google Forms. So his interaction with subject matter and technology will become more. To be able to measure or evaluate the performance, yes, this point we have already discussed. Both descriptive and objective questions can be evaluated easily, but descriptive questions need a faculty person to sit and evaluate, but objective questions can be easily evaluated. Okay, virtual whiteboard, this is another facility given in online education. So as usual you are using a blackboard to write. So in online we are giving, instead of blackboard we give whiteboard. So whiteboard is an option available with your PPT when you are teaching online, available with your PDF when you are teaching online. So you can write and teach simultaneously, whatever you do in normal classroom. You are teaching mathematics, you are teaching chemical equation, you are teaching a problem from physics, or you are teaching accounting, anything, statistics, you can do this online. So this is virtual whiteboard. You can write using a digitizer and a digital pen. You can rub it off. You can save the slide if you want. Screen recording. So screen recording softwares are available. So again, that is free of cost. Preparing a PPT like this and you deliver your lecture, and the screen will automatically capture whatever you talk. So it records both the screen and your voice. So there is screen recording software which is available. Collaboration. So let us assume that you are taking first unit, other faculty takes second unit, other one takes third unit. If that is the case, collaboration can be easily done in online, because everybody can do their part of job like this, and finally you can collaborate everybody's work. And you can easily ask a resource person from industry to come and take over your classes. For example, you want to give a guest lecture, right? So in the regular classroom the guest has to be invited, the formalities are there, correct? Okay, in online classroom the procedures are very simple. You can make the guest as a host of the program. So the guest from the industry will interact with the students and he will teach something, correct? The student knowledge gets expanded. Here the guest is also from their office or home. They can spend around 30-40 minutes to interact with the classroom students, and it's very easy to do also. E-classrooms, online digital classrooms. Imagine about this: electronic books, materials, electronic test, electronic assignment. Again, Google Classroom allows you to create assignment and you can get assignment from every student. Electronic presentation, virtual labs. If you want to give seminar to your students, you can give it so everybody can present online, others can listen to that, right? Virtual labs is the concept by IIT Bombay. So it is labs through computers. There is no physical setup of labs, but these labs enable uh, in giving a virtual experience to learners who are from rural parts of India. Okay, tools of digitization. Number one, Zoom. So Zoom, it gives 40-45 minutes free call. Then again you need to reschedule a meeting. But usually a classroom teaching long lasts for only 40 minutes, right? So this is one of the app which is application which is most applicable. And there is an option like screen sharing in Zoom. On every online teaching platform it is available, screen sharing, that is sharing your screen to the group of participants, that is your students. So whether you use PPT or whether you use a digitizer and a pen and a digital pen writing it, it is okay. Cisco WebEx, I think for 15 days to for a month it is free to host any meetings 24/7. It's free. YouTube, you can go YouTube live and you can teach. WhatsApp, still you can have touch with people, students through WhatsApp. Some doubts can be clarified through a small audio message. Some doubt can be clarified by through a small text message. Right, a small video you can talk in WhatsApp and you can share it across Telegram. So WhatsApp, the only thing which we feel as drawback is 256 members per group, and the Telegram allows 2 lakh people per group. If you want to host an international conference like this, Telegram would be the best option. Again, free of cost, everything. Okay. Uh, Kahoot is a website and application which enables gamification of education. So you can create game, you can create lessons, you can make students interactive using this website or application. The Survey Monkey, so it is usually meant for taking survey. Using this you can go for a objective type of test. Google Classroom, you can accommodate up to 256 students in a classroom. So probably we will be getting 30 to 70 students per class. So though as a faculty you are moving to 3 classes, you need to create 3 classroom to maintain students. Google Meet, like Zoom, WebEx, this is also one of the best application to deliver your lectures. So many webinars you could have attended in Zoom and Google Meet. Google Drive, this is where you need to store your notes. It gives 15 GB free space to share anything. You can share, I mean, you can save a folder as a folder here. For example, if you want to upload a folder to your email, it will ask you to make it as a zip file. That case will not be applicable. You can upload a folder as a folder here, and you can share the folder with anybody. So you can collaborate and work online using Google Drive. You can share notes with students, and you can see how many of you have received the notes, how many of you didn't. So all those facilities are available in Google Drive. Up to 15 GB, it is free of cost. PowerPoint presentation, no need to give any image because we are doing it right now. PDF, okay, making it as a PDF document. I mean, the notes part of it is always go by PDF format. From MS Word, you can make it as a PDF document at free of cost easily and share it with the students. Always see that your text should follow a text size. I mean, for example, the 50-page or 100-page note should follow a text size, and the text size should be same for all the pages. Okay, and there should be a margins allotted everywhere. And see whether your text is centralized, alignment is done properly before sharing it with the student. Though you are copy pasting it, don't share as it is, or you are making your notes, don't share as it is. Okay, just to make it legible and look beautiful to read it out, because your first 2 to 3 pages your notes will create the interest, kindle the interest of the reader. Remember that. Okay, so always give it in PDF so that they will not alter anything. Don't give it in Word. The only drawback of give it in Word is, for example, I'm using 2007 MS Office. If I'm sending it to you and you are having MS Office 2010, if you open it, then probably you will be getting alignment problem. So PDF is free from those errors, and no edition can be done in PDF. Okay. So this is called a digitizer. So this is a slate like one, and this is a digital pen. Using this digital pen, whatever you write here will be visible in the screen, and you look at it, it looks like a screen, right? The digitizer looks like a screen. Okay. And for this, as a faculty, either you should invest or your college should invest. It is not costing much anyway. Okay, prerequisites of digitization: get good webcam, microphone, speakers. Uh, See, I am taking around 30 to 50 minute session, so it won't require proper video. But when you are interacting with your students regularly, your video they will see and they get some inspiration and motivation. Okay, when you're talking with the students without PPT, your image should go there. So microphone and speakers. Okay, high speed internet. Yes, otherwise you will stuck somewhere. Don't rely on your mobile internet connection. Broadband internet connection. Otherwise, this digital cable internet connection, optical fiber cable internet connection is highly reliable. Avoid background noise. So when you are going to take online class, you should find out the place which is free from noises. And other thing is, you should keep it free from your kids and pets. So usually when you take classes, kids will not understand what you are doing, and even the pets, right? So good lighting, good ventilation ensure that, otherwise you will be sweating or your face will not be visible to other person. And a pleasant dressing, that matters. Dress and do makeover and makeup as you are going to the regular class. Be on time. Engage your students by polls, quiz, questioning, and puzzle. So all those techniques you can deploy to engage your students, so that the student will be always with you in line. Okay. Thanks for listening. Hope you got many ideas how to go for your online session. Post COVID, this could be the possibility. Sometimes, if you want to stay safe, this is the possibility, and I hope sure it will happen. Many colleges will say Saturday may be a working day, but online classes are advisable. There is a strategy they may devise. So be ready for online classes and be effective online teacher. As I said, it don't cost you much. So for any queries regarding the topic which I have delivered, you can reach me through my mail ID, which is muralitvmalik2000@gmail.com. Again, I thank all the participants for attending this wonderful program, and I would like to hear from you. You can share your feedback or any doubts. You can reach me in this email ID. And I thank Para Association and Vijay Kumar sir for this opportunity. Have a good day. This is Balamurli signing off. Thank you.